Now, it's obviously a very big year for all our athletes and potential Olympians, and that very much applies to our next guest. She is the Irish record holder at 100 and 200 metres, and Phil Healy is on the line. You're there, Phil?
Yes, I'm here. Thanks for having me on.
No, listen, thanks so much for making time for us. Whereabouts in the world are you based? Where are you now? I know you're in college down in WIT.
Yeah, so I'm here in Waterford for this week, and I get to go back to Cork at the weekend because we have a little mini break after our indoor season, so it's just a few days off before the work starts again.
Too much time away from Cork is just bad for the soul.
Absolutely, you have to go back and just be around everyone again. So yeah, you have to make the trips back and then come back to Waterford. Yeah.
I saw that you're in your final year of, is it a Masters in Science and Applied Computer Technology? Do I have that right?
Yeah, so it is a Masters in Enterprise Computer Software here in WIT, and I've picked more of the data analytics kind of stream and the business side of stuff. So that keeps me going in my final year, and like, the college has been a super support to me throughout my whole 3 years here, both the academic side and the sporting side, and it's like they've been a real help to my sporting achievement as well, having that support team around me.
What is it about that whole area, applied computer technology, that interests you, that you know maybe in a career beyond athletics you're thinking about?
Yeah, so like I started off in UCC a good few years ago, and I started off in nursing, so I did take a career change along the way. So I did 3 years in nursing, graduated with a health science degree, and then I moved into a higher diploma in UCC as well in applied computing, and then I made the transfer then to WIT after that because my coach was here, and it was the ideal setup and had the perfect course for me to transfer and just get that extra master's degree. So for me, the sport is one side of thing, but you also need to have your academic on par as well. So it's about getting that degree that you always have that fallback, because athletics can end at any point. So for me, yeah, it's definitely a career that I will pursue.
Right.
And definitely towards the more data analytics side as when I choose to retire from athletics or balance the two.
Yeah, very good. Well, hopefully that's a few years away yet. And nursing, I mean, that strikes me as just about the toughest job there is out there. Did you have second thoughts about that as you saw more of what it was entailed?
Like, it was super rewarding. Like, as I said, I spent 3 years in it, and I did all the placements and the night shifts and all that thing, like all that along the way. And then I made it harder for myself because I did children's and general nursing, so I had extra hours and extra placement and things like that. So I had the 2 degrees in one. So it wasn't as if it was a hard course and things like that. Like, I really, really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the placement side of things. But it was really hard to balance both the athletics and the training and the placement as one. And I was looking at it, yes, sporting was a decision that swayed my career choice.
Yeah.
But I was looking at, when I'm 35, 40, is it a career that I'm going to stay in forever? Probably not. So I was 20, 21 at the time. So I was like, I have my chance now to make a move and balance everything. I have one shot at the athletics. So I took my stance at that and gave it all.
Because I can imagine, as enjoyable as the placements might be, for a start, you're probably spending, a 12-hour shift on your feet. Like I say, your Fitbit steps are well up for starters. Absolutely.
Like, you did 12, 13-hour shifts back-to-back, and we did 3 of them in a row in the 1 week, and then you're doing placements back-to-back every week. And, if you're working 13-hour shifts, I remember leaving my house at about 10 to 7, and I used to be back about 10 to 9 at night. So, where are you going to fit training in there? So, that was 3 days out of your week. So it wasn't conducive to training, and it wasn't even conducive to recovery, not a mind training as well. So, look, that's why I did make the career path change, and it's one I haven't looked back on.
I would presume one of the things that attracts people to a career like nursing is they have a certain empathy with people. They want to be of service, in effect. It must be difficult, especially at the start, like when you're doing the placements, even just emotionally, to see people in tough times and to just switch off and then go home and watch a movie.
Absolutely, and especially when the children's side of things, you see them suffering more and they're so helpless there. So that was one area that I did find tough, but you have your peers around you, have your support team, and everyone is there for each other because everyone is going through the same thing. But yeah, it's you want to help as much as you can, and sometimes there's only so much you can do, and especially then as a student as well.
I'm sure. So that's life away from the track, and you're in your final year at WIT. On the track, I mean, to say that this year is a big year is an understatement. As I understand it, World Indoor Championships in March, Olympics hopefully with the coronavirus upcoming still, and then European Championships at the end of August. So as you embark on 2020, that's kind of as big as it will ever get in your career, to say the least.
Absolutely, and unfortunately our World Indoor Championships were cancelled due to the coronavirus.
Right.
So they would be in about 2 weeks' time, so they were cancelled. So everything is lying now on Olympics and European Championships later in August. So hopefully that it does go ahead. Our aim for indoor season was to get as many ranking points as possible and run as quick as I possibly could over 200 indoors. So I've moved myself from 39th to 27th out of the top 56. So if I stay in that position for the next few months, that's my ticket secured for Tokyo. It's definitely a big year. Yeah,
I was going to ask about that. So there are kind of two avenues really, and I read that you're focusing on the 200 metres this year. You can run the qualifying standard of 22.80, or if you're in the world's top 56, then that is your ticket to the Olympics. So if you've moved from 39 to 27 of late, that's a very good start.
Absolutely, and there is only a small window left for qualification, and indoors is worth an awful lot more points than outdoors, in the equivalence of time. So that was always our aim. You can hold 2 indoor times that'll take into your aggregate of your top 5 times overall. So we put ourselves, myself and Shane, my coach, have put ourselves in the best possible position that we could have after indoors, and just looking forward to take it on into outdoors then.
You seem to be in good form. You ran very well in Athlone recently. A new record. That was a 17-year record, Irish record, which was broken. So a tough injury period last year. I think a broken metatarsal. Are you starting to feel your old self a little bit, like you're kicking on again?
Absolutely, and this indoor season, it was just more enjoyable racing, that you could actually step on the line knowing that you're fit and healthy and there's no doubts in your head, will you be able, won't you be able, because last year did take its toll both mentally and physically. I did break my foot in the end of April last year, and World Universities was always our aim, and that was mid-July. It was 12 weeks exactly to the day from breaking my foot, and prior to breaking my foot, the medal chance was well within our range. So it was hard, when your main aim is taken from you. But we worked so hard to get back there, and I finished 6th in that World University final. So that was the highlight of my outdoor season last year. And just following on from that then, it was tough. It was mentally hard to keep going because you were drained from it. And with me, whether it's exams or whether it's training, I will put 110% into it. So as anyone knows, themselves, if they're giving their all, there will be a point where they will crash a little after. So it was just about resetting again after outdoor season last year and taking it on into winter. And we had a really clear winter, and we put all the hard work in, and then it's just about enjoying yourself racing then.
Okay, well, that's actually an area I wanted to ask you about. So the broad question is, how do you get your best performances? How do you produce them? So starting point obviously is fit and healthy and a good block of training, so you get that in the winter. And then around the day of a race or the week of a race, do you know what mindset to put yourself in to get the best performance from yourself? Or is that still a strange, slightly mysterious science that every athlete battles with?
No, I would know what works for me and what doesn't work for me, and even just getting your performance out. As you said, it's about getting the consistency week on week, and that's one thing that I didn't have last summer, when the consistency is broken from your normal training. And any athlete will know, once the consistency is gone, it is hard to, you're on the back burner then and trying to fight the whole way. So it is about having a clear winter, getting each session matters. So it's adding them all up every single week, and then the weeks come to months, and the months spread on one after the other. But then mentally, as it comes towards the championships, or a race, you know what kind of shape you're in. You have the confidence and you have your markers from training and your evidence is there. So I would definitely be mentally strong myself, and I would have a sports psychologist and things like that, and work closely with Shane, my coach, as well. So we know what works for us, and we're just ready to get on that start line and put our best performance out there as well.
And what does work for you, Phil? Where do you go mentally in the hours before a race?
So the work is done, so there's nothing more that you can do between a couple of hours before the race and towing the line. So it's all in your head. If you let nerves get the better of you, you're obviously giving an advantage to your competitor straight away. So for me, it's just making sure that I have, I would be very much, I know what time I'm warming up, I know what time I need to be at the venue, different things like that. So I would be, everything is laid out in times. And then it's just about relaxing, listening to music, different things like that before you actually have to switch on, get in the game and focus while you're warming up.
So it sounds like routine. Routine is where you take comfort.
Absolutely routine, and it's like repeating the same thing for every competition. So like I would have, as I said, all my times laid out, that where I need to be at what time. So that just repeats in for every single competition. So everything is the same and you have no variable changing there then.
I suspect the short answer to this question is you just run as bloody fast as you can the whole way around. Are there any tactics at 200 metres level?
No, and it is about executing your own race and focusing on your race and not everyone else's. So there is definitely elements that, especially indoors, that I have to work on, is executing your start properly and keeping as close to the inside of the line as you possibly can. And then with bends indoors, obviously if you're out in lane 6, that is the outside lane, so it is steeper. So if you don't drive into the bottom bend, you're going to arrive at the top of that bend and you're going to be like, oh, my legs aren't feeling okay here. So it's as if like you're cycling a bike up a hill. If you don't cycle hard into the hill, you're not going to make it to the top of the hill. So you just have to, like when you're in the race, you have to focus on driving in as hard as you can into that bottom bend and getting the momentum off on the other side as you approach the finish line then.
If I were to watch you, say, and Dina Asher-Smith run separately around a track, run 200 metres around a track, I would not be able with the naked eye to tell the difference between her 21.88, which won the World Championships, and your 22.99. You know, it would be an imperceptible gap. So when we talk about fine margins, they are fine margins. And yet I presume a second at 200 metres is absolutely massive. So I wanted to ask you, in terms of closing that gap, if it's ever possible, is that like per thousand of a second, slowly but surely? Is gaining half a second, is that 2, 3, 4, 5 years work and still may never happen? Or is that something you can aspire to do in a shorter period of time? Like, can you give us a sense of the realities of those margins? Because in real life, a second is nothing. And in your world, a second is everything. Yeah,
absolutely. And a second is absolutely massive. And like, say if you look at my 200 metres indoor, in 2017 I ran 23.55, whereas 2020 I ran 23.10. So there is pretty much half a second there, and that takes an awful lot of work to get to there, and there is so many elements within it, whether it's fitness, whether it's strength in the gym, whether it's your speed endurance and different things like that, and a balancing act of all the different elements and getting the most out of each and getting as strong as you possibly can and then getting as fast as you possibly can then as well.
And are you able to identify what areas you need to improve in?
Yeah, and like I would know myself, and then I would work very closely with Shane, my coach, and like we both know together, like he knows what works for me, I know what works for me, so I would give him that feedback, and it's like that partnership that we have together, and we're always looking at areas to improve on, and especially say the time that I did break my foot, we found so many new avenues of training and different elements that work and that we've brought into this winter season that we may not necessarily have if we didn't break the foot. So there is always areas that everyone can improve on, and we would work closely with that. And like we never settle for everything being okay. Like we always have an extra level, an extra higher bar that we are working towards.
So Phil, what's an average training day in an average training week?
So I would train 6 days a week. Tuesdays I would train track and gym. Say Wednesdays I would train in the gym and I would have a bike session as well. Thursdays I would have just track. Then Fridays is both gym and bike as well. So like it is high intense, and then recovery is a major aspect as well, so that you're prepared from going from one session to the next and giving yourself the best opportunity to be the best you can possibly be in that session. So different weeks are programs, like we would do a 4-week block, and there might be a speed focus on 1 week, and then the next week is where there's more of a volume focus. So Shane takes care of all that, and I'm just there to do the session, do the as best I possibly can and provide the feedback based on that.
Right, okay. So like you and every other athlete is of a personality type where you've pushed yourself for a very long time. When you're doing a gym session, I guess we've all had this to a far lesser extent, you must be thinking, oh, I could have lifted a few kgs heavier there, or I could have done an extra rep there. Is the role of the coach almost to rein you in from yourself?
Yes, definitely sometimes, and I would know myself, sometimes your session might be on paper, but there might be a weight on paper that you may not be able to lift that day based on something that you've done the day before, and your body might be that little bit tired. So you have to be smart in those kind of ways where you have to pull yourself back yourself and not push yourself to, I must do what's on paper, because that's obviously not going to work as well. So you do need to have that awareness as an athlete if the coach isn't there as well, and have that safety measure for yourself.
What about funding, Phil? How do you pay your way?
So we are supported by Athletics Ireland on the carding scheme, which is a great help in Sport Ireland. And then as well, like, there's different sponsorships along the way, and the college as well with their scholarship system. Like, it is second to none. And the support that they give me, both financial-wise, services-wise, like, I can go to physio as many times as I want and they cover it all. Like, they really are, like, absolutely super, and they give me no hesitation and question, like, that I can't do anything. Like, I know that I have the best support system around me, and I can go to physio as many times as I want, as a precaution, as whatever I need, and they're absolutely super.
So you said ranked 27th at the moment in the world, which hopefully gets you to an Olympic Games. You're somewhat unfortunate, and I feel this for all our athletes actually, that they operate in this incredibly difficult and competitive sphere, whereby if you were 27 in the world as a golfer, if you were the 27th ranked golfer in the world, you'd be, massive household name. We would all know who you were. And yet, for athletics, really, Olympic final is kind of almost a minimum for the general public, probably myself included, to get excited about and really go, wow, what a big achievement, even though I know that just being in the top 27 in the world is a phenomenal achievement. So hopefully you get to the Olympics, hopefully the Olympics go ahead. What's a realistic and fair aspiration and target for yourself?
Yeah, definitely getting to a semi-final is definitely a target, and that will be the top 24 that will get through to that. And instead, as you said, you can be top 27 in the world and no one will realise and say, even for 200 metres indoor this year, I was number one in Europe. But again, no one realises that, and if that was another sport, or let's say it was more of a male-dominant sport, that would be the headlines everywhere. So you are fighting your battles all the ways, but you're out there to perform, and you're obviously not depending on media coverage and different things like that. You're out there to do your best and perform to your best, and the people around you will know what you've achieved, and the pure athletics fans as well.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I suspect our male athletes get a similarly poor amount of coverage, to be honest, as well. It's just athletics' place, and everybody loves a winner. Not everybody can be Sonia O'Sullivan, and we almost have those expectations at times of our athletes, and they're competing against, I'd say the depth is incredible. Like, Ciara McGeehan tells me that the 1500 metres has never been tougher. How's the 200 metres women's at the moment?
Absolutely, everything is always stepping up all the time, and there is so many advancements, say, training-wise and different things like that. So everyone is always improving their game. So there's no easy event across athletics, and everything is all as you saw Ciara at the World Championships this year, where she finished in a world-class field, and the time that she ran and gave her that position. So it's absolutely mad, and everything is always stepping up, and then we as athletes have to rise to that as a result. Okay,
well listen, we really wish you the best of luck over the next while. So with the World Indoors cancelled for March, I hadn't realised that. It's hard to keep track of everything that's happening at the moment in the world. What's the kind of plan between now and say kind of June, July territory? Just work as hard as you can, keep your ranking up? Absolutely, and we will have races depending on travel and different things like that around between now and June time, and it is about training, getting the consistency and putting the weeks back to back and focusing on our plan, and hopefully the Olympics will go ahead. Yeah, indeed. And summer exams as well, I'm sure, to look forward to. Absolutely. finish off my dissertation, and that's me done with college then. Great, super stuff. Well listen, Phil Healy, you've started the season brilliantly, breaking records, and hopefully it continues, and it's a big 2020 for you. Thanks so much for your time, Phil. Super, thanks a million. Thank you.